Good morning, good morning. It's Monday, the 12th? The 12th of June, 2017. There's a lot of people right now that wish it was still 2016, but it isn't, it's 2017. I live in England, and some of you will have been watching the political situation in England, and some of you might have even been hoping that an Englishman, a man who has voted in elections and referenda over the last couple of 4 decades, might explain it all to you. Well, I'm not going to. It's a mess. It genuinely is a mess, and all we can really do is hope that between them they work it all out and come to some sort of sensible set of solutions. So instead of contemplating the political mess, goodness knows if we looked at the political mess outside of the United Kingdom, we could be here all day, couldn't we? So we're not going to do that. What I'm going to do today, as I don't have to go to work today, I'm actually on that wonderful situation of annual leave. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing some work for a display for those wonderful bits and pieces of railway stuff that the club has been given. You remember that we were given, St Mary's Model Railway Club was given these wonderful pieces of model railway stuff. Hornby 003 rail, tin plate, wonderful things. And it coincides with some thinking that I've been doing on modular model railways. If you own a house in, Dodge Center, Minnesota, and if you've stopped the plumbing from leaking, you can build a wonderful permanent layout with rocks and mountains and grist mills and rivers and dinosaurs swimming in the pond and all. The world is your nutmeg, Rodney. If you don't live in such a wonderful place where when you get up in the morning you look out at corn growing as high as the elephant's eye, you need to think in terms of modular model railways. That's to say, a model railway that takes apart, a piece that then bolts to another piece that then bolts to another piece, and so on and so forth. Now, what I've got in mind is a very complex piece of engineering. 3 or 4 years ago, I was driving around in France, and being an expert navigator, I wasn't lost. Honest, I wasn't lost. Didn't know where I was, but I wasn't lost. And we drove round the corner, and there was this most fantastic railway bridge. And it was a real, wow, look at that bridge. I've got to look it up. I think it's in a place called, no, it's not near Boussac, but it's down in the middle of France. And this bridge is still in use. They still run trains over it, and it's a real wow, look at that bridge. Now, although this is in France and it was built by French engineers, it borrowed ideas and thinking from some British engineers. So I want to build one, and it's going to be very complicated, and I want to build it to run these on. And then I was thinking that's actually very complicated engineering for a very limited use. So I've got some other strange ideas going on. But what I'm doing today is I'm going to go and get some sheets of plywood. I hope I'm going to pick up some structural brass because I need to start laying out and building a bridge. It's going to be about 3 foot long. It's got to carry 2 tracks. It's got to stand quite high. The original bridge is very high, and to build it in model form it would need to be too big to go in the back of the Skoda. So in effect I'm going to make it sort of half scale and modify it so that it's wide enough to take 2 tracks. That's what I'm going to be doing today. Right, I've actually drunk tea. I've also drunk apple juice. Apple juice apparently is better for getting rid of gallstones than tea is, apparently. Right, let's go and do stuff. And just to prove that I'm not the only comedian in this part of the world, I went to the shops the other day, and in someone's front garden there was an item with this written notice on it. Yeah, nice enough, isn't it? Nice enough. It wasn't just one, it was 2, but the other one now has got socks and such like in the drawers. Now, modular railways. The idea is we're going to have a box, only it won't be a box. It will be that sort of shape. These bits will be battens. It will have batten going across there. It will have sides. If I do that side, it will have a side in thin plywood. Something that sort of shape, and of course a similar one on this sort of side, and across here in the middle it will have stone piers. And a river meandering through it, and a bridge. Now, between these piers and the bridge deck, it will have some very, very interesting lattice struts. And this bridge is actually, it's a girder bridge. So it's got members, and then it's got bracing and cross bracing in a lattice. It's going to be an interesting sort of soldering up sort of job. It will probably drive me, I was going to say it'll drive me mad, but there are those that say I already am. Now, the other little problem with this, who knows what Hornby 3 rail track looks like? Okay, it wasn't a test. This is what Hornby 3 rail track looks like. And for the job I've got in mind, this is wrong. Because the sort of track that goes over a bridge like this doesn't have this sort of ballasting. So I've set myself a difficulty. that I'm going to be making some 3-rail track to span this bridge. I know how I'm doing it. I say I know how I'm doing it. I've got an idea how I'm going to do it, and it's going to involve a certain amount of surgery and glue and various other nonsense. But the first job is to get that sort of thing put together.